Boy Records. You signed your first record deal, and you know, that already was a huge step toward a musical career. So since then you become multi-hyphenate. Like, did you know that you wanted to be a multi-hyphenate, or did you think at that time music was going to be the thing?
Honestly, I didn't even know what a multi-hyphenate was. I just wanted to become a rapper. And, you know, my mom kind of raised me not to put all my eggs in one basket, you know, kind of have some other things to fall back on. And I said to myself, if I'm not the best rapper, period, male or female, then I have to keep my options open, you know? And so when other opportunities came around, such as acting, I went for it. And Spike Lee was looking for a female rapper. It so happened to put in his movie Jungle Fever. And originally Moni Love got the part, but then she got pregnant and couldn't do it. So I was next up.
Yeah.
So thanks, Moni, for getting pregnant. Because that kind of started my career off.
Yeah, but like that's a huge thing though, because now it's 2019, so that's 31 years. And you don't have that kind of longevity unless you're surrounding yourself with the right people. So I wondered if you could talk about finding your tribe and just like those early days, and like even talk about the complications of how that tribe evolves, you know, because everyone who starts with you doesn't end with you, and how it necessarily expands and contracts, and just, you know, how you make that work.
You know, yeah, that's a very, well, first of all, I've been very blessed to have the right people in my life. And I have to give my mother so much of the credit, because really my mother introduced me to it. My mother actually literally introduced me to my producer. So my mother taught high school at Irvington High School in New Jersey, and she was an art teacher, and she was also a class advisor. So she would hire the people who would DJ for the high school parties. And she hired DJ Mark the 45 King, who was a local DJ, but he was from the Bronx, you know, and he was connected a little bit. And we used to hang out at his house in his basement, and we all rapped. And I would learn how to rap from people like Apache and Latifah, and everybody who came out of that basement got signed to a record deal. So it was just like, she literally introduced me to my rap career. And I think it was interesting because Shakim was in that basement with me, my partner, all these years. We started this management company kind of out of necessity. Number one, I didn't really want to be told what to do, or have somebody stick a piece of paper in front of me and say sign here, and not know my own business. We heard all of the horror stories about people losing all of their publishing and all that kind of stuff. And so we decided to create our own management company managing me initially. But then my boys, they were all in these terrible contracts, horrible contracts. Mine wasn't the best contract, but compared to some of what they were signed to, it was like night and day. So our first mission really was to get our boys out of these bad contracts and get them new deals. And we got each and every one of them out of those contracts and got them new deals. All of these were always in me. All these things that you saw me do, I was capable of doing. And so it really was just a question of when and how. When and how would I do this? Living single was a result of me having been bit by the acting bug at a young age, and seeing my boy Will Smith do it. So we're just rappers on tour, and then we get off tour, and all of a sudden Will has a show. It's like, oh, Will can do it, we can do it. So, you know, he was the inspiration for that, and he helped us as well along with that, and we all made it happen. So that was one way that happened. But with things like Living Out Loud and Chicago, I wanted to sing and do a jazz album, but I knew that the audience knew me as a rapper, and then they knew me as an actor. So I had to kind of season them up a little bit. So I did those two movies, and then I was able to release a jazz album, because now the audience was kind of used to hearing me sing, at least, where they hadn't heard it before. So I think sometimes it's the timing of things and how you lay them out. I think if you're capable of doing whatever you're capable of doing, you can do it. Sometimes it's just a matter of the timing and how you sort of present it, so that it finds its audience.
I first discovered Tide with my friend Amanda Peacock, who's here. She did a photo series with Refinery 29, and I was just like, oh my God, who is this amazing woman who's doing impactful work in Baltimore? I'm from Silver Spring. And I was just like, I need to find who this woman is. So I tried my best to build trust with her. I met with her. We talked for like hours upon hours in Baltimore, and then kept on visiting Baltimore just so that there just felt like more comfortability, because I know that her you know, her story is very, very strong, but it's also very heartbreaking. So I wanted to make sure that I was authentically always telling that story.
And then Haley, your story is also particularly sensitive. It follows a family who moved up here from Georgia, a mother, Jakina, and her daughters, Michaela and Janiyah, and how they're trying to like advance themselves and move out of the shelter system and like into like homes. And they're really like these beautiful, capable family, and we see them like calling every day, you know, going to different schools, like fitting in, like making the grades. And so that was a really sensitive, tender moment to get to observe. So can you talk about how you built the trust and how you got to interact with them?
Yes, it was kind of amazing how it happened because we started filming them like a few days after we met them. And it's really just speaks to how much they took us into their lives. And they trusted us, and I'm glad that they did.
Or would they call you if they knew something was happening?
Yeah, they called us every once in a while because it was very hard to kind of get access, as they know, it's like the New York shelter system. It's not the easiest to navigate. We can't just walk in there and start filming. So we had little tricks along the way to kind of get what we needed. It's just because of the family that we were able to be with them so much.
And are you going to continue as a feature film, or like what are your plans?
I would like to. I would like to continue talking about this issue because it's very close to me, and there's so many people going through it. And I think the idea that I wanted to get across with this film is that you can't always tell who is going through this experience.
And Renee, so in your documentary, there's this poignant moment where Ty talks about, there are times where she'd go out. So it's about this woman who leads this ballet program in Baltimore. And so she talks about how she would go and buy food and prepare for 30 people and be ready for everyone to come. And there are times where no one would show up. And then there are times where, more people would sign up, but like 4 people would come. But she, even in those small groups, realizing like the need for dance therapy and like how wanted this was, and people would like request it in one of the scenes where she's working with a family that's dealing with grief. And so I wonder if you can talk about how that interaction was, and how, she had the courage to keep going, even when things weren't, she was doing this thing that people, were.
We as Black women and women of color don't always talk about our trauma. So for me, it was very important to talk about how she built herself back up after dealing with such a traumatic experience. You'll discover that it was a very vile experience. So for me, I was never interested in just depicting Tide as a victim, because she's not. She's so much more than that. And so she's such a pillar in the community. Like the fact that there are families here who she's impacted is just like mind-blowing to me. And the fact that there was a scene in the movie, unfortunately, where a family has experienced gun violence and one of the children has, unfortunately, is passed. And the fact that she's still there, like her reach is so much greater than just dance. And I hope that that comes across in the film, that she is so much greater than just a dancer, that she's really a pillar in her community. So I hope that